Hey YouTube, Mike the Rinnai guy here. How are you all doing today? I hope you all had a safe and productive week and we're doing well out there. Okay, just got to do this disclaimer. Again, I do not work for Rinnai. Rinnai does not pay me to do these videos. They don't sponsor this channel. This is all on my own as a licensed plumber here in the state of Florida. Okay, so that said, all right, today we're actually going to be going over the sequence of operation, how a tankless works, and then as we go through from A to Z, we're going to show you the different parts as best as we can, what I have here laid out on the table. All right, so basically what this is, now this is on an RL series or a V series, the non-condensing units. If we try to do both, we might as well get lunch and a pillow because we're going to be here a long time. So we'll be doing the condensing one later. Okay, so again, this is for the non-condensing only. Now we have our RL94 exterior, but we're going to also make believe it's a hybrid and it's an exterior and an interior. All right, so basically, what does this thing do? It takes water at a gallon per minute. So if you look at the model numbers, so starting at a 53 and moving on to a 94, that is the gallons per minute. So 5.3, then there's 6.5, then there's 7.5, and 9.4 with the point in between the two numbers. That's the gallons per minute. But that's the gallons per minute out of the box. Now you know I've talked about, excuse me, before, a thing called the delta T. That is your groundwater temperature in comparison to what you have the controller set at. So let's just say you have 70-degree groundwater temperature and you have this set at 120. So you have a 50-degree delta T. That delta T drops the gallons per minute down. Not by a lot. You can actually Google it and they will give you the formula on how to determine what your delta T is. Okay? Again, we go over that, lunch and a pillow. All right, so cold water enters the water inlet. Here's your water inlet. Remember, that's the one that has the filter inside of it. Then as it enters into the water servo valve. And then there's a bypass valve connected to it. Again, I'm sorry I don't have one of those. That's actually together. But that bypass valve is right here in front of the water servo valve, that the actual cold water inlet, which is right here, is going up into the tankless. Now, as it goes in, it hits that turbine, which spins, and it actually resonates a sound. And that sound is picked up by this, which is mounted to the front here of the water servo valve, because your turbine is right here. And then this is mounted right here. You have your freeze protection piece in here. Let's find, here we go. Here's one. And then you have a screw, excuse me, that holds that in. And then you have your screw that holds in that one part of the freeze protection. So remember, you have your freeze protection, and then you have that pickup device. So as you increase the flow of water, the faster the water turbine spins, the more it will vamp up the burner through the PC board right here, and will open up the gas solenoids, which are right here, which would then open up and allow gas to enter the actual burner. There is your burner, there is your orifices. You got your gasket that seals it. This is on the back side. This is what's mated to your gas valve. Right here. Here's your gas valve. It's mated to your gas valve. 2 screws and that O-ring, flat on one side, beveled on the other. Make sure you don't lose it. Make sure you got extra. But if you look at this, you'll notice that it says RD, BLY, and over here it says orange. Okay? What's that telling you is on the harness, which I have one right here, you have connectors that connect to those solenoids. There's your red, there's your blue, there's your yellow, and there's your orange. So if you have to remove this burner plate to do some service, you actually now know where each one of these go. And as you can see, they fall perfectly and zip tied where they have to be. Okay, so now, as you increase the flow, it'll go from low fire to high fire and vamp up the burner. Now, when there is an initial call, the PC board will send a signal to the igniter, which is housed right here. We'll send a signal to the igniter, which would then ignite the burner. And that is the igniter with the ceramic piece, which is right here in that rubber boot. You see, you got the black wire that goes back to the igniter. Here's the black wire, goes to the igniter. Now, this is not part of the wire harness, as you can see. It's a separate piece. So by pulling this off and taking that screw out right here, and of course releasing the plug, see, by releasing the plug, so once you pull it out, now you release the plug, your igniter is out, you can now change it. Okay. Then, as the burner is firing, you have 2 flame sensors. You have a red one and you have a yellow one. Again, you have it says black, it says red and yellow. So you have all of your markings where everything goes right here. Orange, yellow, blue, red, black, red, yellow. So now these things, which are right here, and here they are right here. So you got red, yellow, they go on right like that. Now remember, when they go back in, remember the orientation. The igniter is going like down towards 4 o'clock, 4 and 5 o'clock. The 2 flame sensors, yellow and red, are going down to 6 o'clock. So remember that orientation. So they face, you see how they're going down to 6? So they're facing the left side of the burner. Then you have your burner, then you have your igniter and flame sensor plate with the gasket. So now, you have one sink on. You're on low fire. The burner is heating. The fan right here is drawing in fresh air on an external unit. It's drawn in from right here, and it exhausts through there. So when the cover is on, that's why that rubber seal right here is very important, because you don't want to start drawing air through here. You want to draw air through here because there is a pickup back here that's picking up the fresh air. And it's just the way a car carburetor works. You need fuel, you need air, you need fuel, the gas, you need air, the fan, and you need ignition. That lets the burner burn correctly. Now, all of this is set through the PC board for low gas pressure and high gas pressure. So now someone else turns on another faucet. Maybe they go into the shower. Maybe they turn on the tub. Maybe they turn on the wash machine, whatever. Now it'll go into high fire. So the burner now will burn fully, burn bigger, and start heating this more. You have the burner plate right here. And that is what your other plate, whoop, I'm losing everything here. And I got no nails to pick up stuff. We don't need the gasket. So you got the burner plate, you got your igniter, and your two flame sensors. And that's this plate right here. Got your little sight where you can see how the burner looks. Is the burner dirty? On an internal unit, so this is the vent. The vent is sitting on the top. You don't have this. You have your controller mounted in the front. There's no louvers on the bottom. Here, the air is brought in through this outer port right here. That's where the air is brought in. The exhaust is brought through there. And then if you just do a standard through the wall, like just a horizontal vent, elbow 11.5, 21. Other than that, you go more than that, you go vertical, you take that off, you have to put your condensate trap on that. Okay, so now, when it exits the tankless heater, it exits through this port. You have an outgoing, so you have an outgoing heat exchanger thermistor, which is right, we'll find it. It's somewhere here. No, that's not it. Where the heck is that thermistor? Why don't, here we go, it's right in front of my face, oh my God. So you have an outgoing water thermistor. That's what happens when you get old. So this thermistor, which if you remember from cleaning the thermistors on the other video, goes through that plate with the two little screws, comes down to here. Now, that thermistor is sensing what's coming out of the top of the heat exchanger. So this pipe right here is what's going to the hot water out. So that's your hot water out. That's down here on that side of the tankless. So your red handle valve is what's on that one. Now, you also have an outgoing thermistor, which is this one. See, we got the little O-ring on it. See the O-ring? That goes in the hot water outlet side. And that's right down, that's this wire right here. And then you have another freeze protection piece of ceramic. That gives you what the temperature is coming out of the tankless. Now, back here, you have what we call, well, it's a mixing valve. So what it's doing is it's between the PC board and the thermistor, it's telling this valve to let a little bit of cold water in to the heat exchanger, so that if you have that set at, say, 115, 120, it's talking with this thermistor, and regulating this control valve to allow a little bit of cold water in. That's why on these tanklesses, if you have to do a heat exchanger swap out, you have those 3 copper lines: cold water, hot water, and back here is the small little, probably like a 3/8 inch line. It's got the clip. It doesn't have the plate with the screws in it, which is this one right here. Doesn't have that type of plate with the screw. It hooks in. It has a little clip in it. Let's see, do I have a clip? Yes, I do. Well, no, I don't. No, I never acquired one. But I'm gonna, let me see if we could zoom down into it. Give me a second here. There we go. All right, let me just sweep that over there. There we go. That's it right there. You see that right there? That's it. So you got your cold water, your hot water, and this is coming from the mixing valve. And that's going up into the heat exchanger, and it is mixing water so that it's giving you what you have asked for. Now, you have a couple of safeties on this. You have the thermal fuse that wraps around the heat exchanger. See, you have a black, white, white, and that's what this is. It wraps around the heat exchanger. Actually, it wraps around that way, sorry. It wraps around this way. And with these 2 wires going down, these 2 wires right here are going down to here. Then you have this heat sensor, 2 pink wires, which is right here. So that is what's sensing overheating. Because that's why I stress on servicing this unit. One of the drawbacks with not servicing the unit, so one of the really bad things about not servicing the unit, is that you will literally clog up this heat exchanger, and the burner is still going to burn. This unit's 199,000 BTUs. It's still going to burn. And what's going to happen, it's not putting the correct amount of water through it, and it overheats the heat exchanger, and it starts burning the heat exchanger, or it starts burning this part of the heat exchanger, the aluminum part. That's what that thermal fuse is for. That thermal fuse is there so that if there's a lot of external heat on the outside, this here, this here, this there, it actually fries, and that's it. You can't reset it. Okay, then you have freeze protection, which we went over on other videos. You have freeze protection. Ceramic pieces that are situated here, over here, back here. This will activate when the temperature reaches a certain low temperature. You have these 2. And here's a smaller version of it that I actually unplugged. And this. Hold on one second. Let me Okay. So you have, there's your ceramic pieces. And here is your cold and hot water freeze protection. Now, on some of the older fans, you're going to find this pressure sensor that's actually mounted. On some of the older fans, you're actually taking the whole fan cage with the squirrel cage in it and the motor out. And this thing is screwed into the actual cage of the fan. So on some of the older models, this is what you're going to find right here. It almost looks like a thermistor, but it's not. It's a fan pressure sensor. And then, let me just unplug these two little things so they're not falling on the floor. This is the entire wire harness right here. So you have this here, which goes down to the PC board. That's all the PC board. That's everything to the PC board. Then you have power. This is your 110 volt power. Then there's a couple of extra things here that, well, let's go over this. Then you got your solenoids, ground. Then you have your flame sensor. You have your thermal fuse. Then you have things on here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a fifth one. Let me find that. Where are you? This might be for, yeah, this might be for an R unit because I do not see it. But you have your Easy Connect cable, if you're going to link two of them together. You have your freeze protection if you're going to do a drain down. You have your air handler. And then you have your MS controller. On the other ones, let me just double check this here. But yes, this is definitely for an older model. On the newer RL series, you have the pump control piece. This one, no, it does not have the pump control. So I can't show you that. But yes, I can. Silly of me. That's why we have Zoom. There we go. So here's that block of wires that I just showed you. All right, you got your MS, you got your freeze, your air handler, and you have your Easy Connect. And right here, it says cut wire to connect pump. That's if you have an external dedicated return line and you're going to put a pump on it. Other than that, you can't use the yes, thermal bypass valve. But if you do the HE plus pump system, the pump comes with the matching end for that. See, you have that little plug that's on it. You unplug it, you put it through this rubber grommet right here. You plug the pump in, then you set the PC board to the exact operating parameters that you want with this unit, with the HE plus pump system, and then you turn that RL unit into a recirc unit. All right, so that's it. In a nutshell, yeah, powering this thing. Your controller is on. Cold water enters the water servo valve. The water servo valve hears the turbine spinning, sends a signal to the PC board. PC board sends a signal to the burner. The burner then ignites. Flame rods sense it. Burner ignites depending on how fast the water servo valve is spinning. The turbine is spinning. It's sensing hot water going through because somebody has a faucet on. The thermistor is telling it, hey, it's a little too hot. With this one, it lands a little cold water in. then somebody else or more fixtures are turned on, the burner vamps up, goes to high fire, and that's how it's firing. So, if you look at the instruction booklet that comes with the unit, and if you look, and I don't happen to have it on here, on the other booklet that comes down here, you'll be able to know all of the parts, all of the description, all of the part numbers, and the quantity. So if you got a bunch of these screws that are 3/4 of an inch long, there's 12 of them. Well, it's going to say 12. Okay? So that is what's happening in a nutshell with an RL series unit. Okay, YouTube. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for all of the comments, all of the questions. My email will be below. I have my third podcast being downloaded tomorrow, and that's going to be a walkthrough of what's in the instruction booklet. We're going to go pages by pages of what's in the instruction booklet and what you need to look out for. And I'm going to say one thing which I'm going to heavily stress on the podcast. Don't be ashamed to look in the instruction booklet. I still do. I don't memorize this stuff. I mean, I remember, okay, it's got to be 3 foot from a soffit. It's got to be 1 foot from a door, 1 foot from a corner. But there's other things that I look at the instruction booklet. That's why it's there. Look at it. There's no sense. You don't have to memorize all this. You got the instruction booklets. And if you can, get some extra. Download them. Put them in a binder. Have them. Have the booklets for inside these units in case they're missing. So that you can have this, so that when you go to service a unit or repair a unit, you have that piece of information. Okay? All right. Email will be below. Send me a question. I'll get back to you. You want a listen to this Mike's Woodshop. If you want a Rinnai Guy sticker, I'll send it out to you. Just include your mailing address. And again, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate all those comments. All those really, really nice comments. I mean, my God, they're amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And you all be safe out there. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.